I'm Ashley, and I'm an alcoholic and an addict. I'm fairly new in recovery. I've been around for about 7 months now. I was asked to share today and filled with a lot of anxiety, fear. This is my first time ever really sharing, so it's a big step for me. I had a little bit of difficulty picking like a specific topic. But when I think of my recovery, I think of page 86 of the big book where it says we ask God to direct our thinking, especially asking that it be divorced from self-pity, dishonest, and self-seeking motives. So I guess what I'm going to do is just like share my experience before recovery a little bit and then share what my recovery is like now. So from a very young age, I was always really shy and timid, full of anxiety. Like I would hide behind my mom in social settings. I was never really comfortable around people. I didn't feel like I belonged anywhere. I felt very disconnected. I never really felt like I was able to receive the love that my parents were giving me. Um, I would try and mold myself into whatever I thought that other people wanted me to be to get approval. Um, my identity really lied in what other people thought of me, whether you valued me or approved of me. Um, I was always trying to be someone else, always looking for ways to escape as well. As a small child, I would use television as an escape. I would had a very difficult time making friends, and I spent a lot of my time alone. I had some trauma at the age of 8 that really amplified the lack of identity and caused my anxiety to become really crippling. Um, I was very depressed after that, suicidal. I was put on medication at 12 or 13, and I started abusing it almost immediately. I figured out that it would give me insomnia and just make me not feel what I was feeling inside. Shortly after that, I started drinking and realized I could escape even further into delusion and mask the pain that I was feeling. I continued on that path of destruction, moving out of my family home at 16. I had my first child at 18, which was I would plan how much can a 17-year-old really plan a pregnancy, but I wanted to become a mother. I thought that that would give me the identity that I was looking for. I wasn't thinking about the future of the child, like I was thinking about myself and how this child could fix me and love me and give me a purpose and really save me from all of the things that I was feeling. Um, I was able to stay on the straight road, I guess you could say, until my daughter was about 2. At that time, I entered into a relationship that very, very quickly became physically abusive. Um, I'm able to like handle those emotions and pain that I was still feeling from the childhood trauma. And then to add on top of it, this trauma, like I turned to drugs shortly after the abuse started. And I was really just not wanting to feel anything at that point. So I believed that having another child would fix my relationship at the time and my life, and it would get me sober again. And I got pregnant with twins at the age of 22. I was sure that this was it. Like I thought my partner and I would get sober and the abuse would stop and my addiction would get better. And during my pregnancy, I was able to stay sober, but my relationship was still in disarray because I wasn't willing to really take responsibility for my life at that point still. I was living in self-centered attitudes. Shortly after my twins were born, I began using drugs again. And then shortly after they were born, my partner and I got married. I again thought that being a wife would somehow fix what was going on within me. Then that was going to be like another just identity for me to take on and focus on. I continued in active addiction for the next 2 years and ended up in a place where I was forced to either give my children to a family member or CAS was going to remove them from the home. So I willingly gave them to a family member for a short period of time and I went to treatment. I stayed sober for about 7 years after that, but I wasn't in active recovery. Like I never did the steps. I went to meetings just to say that I was going to meetings. I didn't know God at all. I blamed God for everything that was happening in my life and why, how could you do this to me? And just very self-absorbed and not good at all. And um yeah, and I was blaming my partner also for my drug use, and I wasn't able to like take responsibility to say like, no, this is something that's in you. This needs to be fixed. Um, and the little black dots just kept piling up within me, and I've never dealt with anything. Um, and then my marriage ended in 2016, and I had another relapse. And I spent the next 6 years trying unsuccessfully to get sober. I put my children, my family, and myself through the ringer. I just didn't feel like I could live with the things that I'd done throughout my life. And I would do anything to escape from the guilt I was feeling. Um, I used drugs, alcohol, relationships, and men to escape. I reached a point of constant thoughts of suicide, self-hatred, and I was desperately searching for a way to relieve these things. My mom was going to church at this time and encouraged me to come with her, so I did. And at that service, I don't know what happened. God obviously touched my life. And I just ended up signing up for LifeLabs, I guess, within a week, I would say, of the first time coming. And then 1 week after starting LifeLabs, God removed the obsession to use and drink alcohol. And it was like almost, I don't know, it was definitely a spiritual awakening for me. I'm very grateful for that. I haven't had to go down that road since then. And through doing the steps in LifeLabs and finding community connection and like a woman who loved me through the process of LifeLabs, I was able to find like peace that I never knew existed. And I was praying daily and building a relationship with God. I was willing and ready for Him to be the director of my life. There was still one area of my life that I was unwilling to let God direct, and that was relationships. I still had deep-rooted fears of abandonment, rejection, and fears of being alone, which amplified my selfish attitudes for sure. The real change for me happened once I did inventory. I was able to see that my most deep-rooted resentment from childhood was the driving force. It just I kept refeeling that pain over and over throughout my life. I was able to see like how I went forward from that was my responsibility. I was able to see where fear was controlling my life because of the fear I had a need to always be taken care of and saved by others. I was selfish in my relationships. I blamed God a lot throughout my life. And when I did the forgiveness chart and really asked myself where God was during the most painful times, some of the answers I got were sitting beside me, wiping my tears, holding out His hand. And that was very comforting for me. Today, I need to consciously ask God to direct my thinking on a regular basis because there's still suffering even in recovery for me. And if God's not directing my thinking, I can easily slip back into self-pity. When God is directing my thoughts and actions, I'm able to be a mother to my children. I'm able to serve others in a purposeful way, and I'm able to set healthy boundaries. I don't need to be saved by a man or relationships, and I'm not seeking validation in wrong places. I still battle with depression, anxiety, and suicidal thoughts, but it's much less crippling today. I know that God didn't cause it, but that He is walking with me in it. That gives me so much hope. And like today, um, when I was doing my morning devos, um, it just reiterated the page 86 prayer for me, like Psalms 85 verse 8, I will listen to what God the Lord will say. He promises peace to his people, his saints, but let them not return to folly. Like I can't return to my old patterns and behaviors. I have to continue to listen to others' suggestions. That's something that I never was able to do before. I have to quietly listen to what God is directing in my life. And then also Proverbs 23, verse 12, apply your heart to instruction and your ears to words of knowledge. Like, that's just, yeah. I'm just more able now that I've got rid of the garbage from within to to know what God is saying to me and to know that I am a valuable person who is worth it. And I don't need to have that validation from other people. I still do obviously struggle with anxiety, but that's getting better in time. And yeah.